So whether you're new to the iPad Pro or you're using it for the first time, multitasking is pretty strange and a little confusing in the new iOS versions. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how to multitask like a pro on the iPad. So if that sounds like the type of video you were looking for, hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you don't miss, and let's dive right into it. So we're going to start by opening up an app. We'll start with Pixelmator. This is my app of choice when it comes to making thumbnails because I like to interact directly with the content, size it to my liking, without the method of keyboard and mouse, but that's not really what we're here for. Let's get into some multitasking action. So the first way we can do this is by pulling up on this bottom bar to reveal our dock, and from here we can take certain apps and put them in a 50-50 split view. Some apps are not able to do that, and that's shown by a full square here saying that it can't be put to the side or put into a flyover card or anything like that. So we'll put that back in the dock, and let's just say for some reason you want to look at a world clock. We can pull that up right here, and I can manipulate both of these at the same time, showing that the iPad Pro has more than enough horsepower and RAM to run both of these apps in the foreground. No problem. And I would really say any iPad Pro in particular made 2018 or later is going to be able to do this no problem. But a lot of people can get this far. But what happens when we want to run a third app? Well, that's where Apple's Flyover Cards come into play, and we can pull up once again on the dock, of course, and choose from any of these. Certain apps cannot be used as a flyover card, just as with split screen, but we can say take the calculator here and drag it right over the middle, and there we have it in a flyover card. And all of these apps once again can be manipulated at the same time, so it doesn't freeze any of the apps, just showing once again that the iPad Pro has more than enough horsepower for what iOS is really allowing it to do. Now say we want to manipulate any of these apps into either a split screen or a flyover card. Well, we can do this pretty easily by using the three dots at the top of any app that you're currently running on the iPad, and it will show you the options you have. You can either run it full screen, split screen, or at 25% of the screen. Let me actually show you what 25% looks like for a minute. We can simply drag the middle of the screen over to show this would be 25% of the screen with 75 for this app, and then we can slide it over to the other side and do the same thing for the other app. We can drag right back in our flyover card just by pulling from the far right of the screen, or actually the far left as well, and we can actually have multiple flyover cards in use at any given time. We simply pull up from this white bar and we can see the other apps that we had in flyover card mode. Finally, for the split screen view, I don't know why you can do this, but if you hold this, you can drag the app from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen in case you wanted a different orientation. But now let's get into Chris, you said we could run 4 apps at a time, and I did preface this by saying it was a limited ability, but yeah, if we have a flyover card here, we can actually pull up from the bottom right hand of the screen, and here we have the Notes app running. And once again, I will show you that all of these can be manipulated at the same time, showing that the iPad Pro has stupid power to run up to 4 apps in the foreground at the same time. And I simply don't think Apple and iPad OS in particular is taking advantage of the power of the iPad Pro. But as you can see right here, 4 apps are being used at the same time. I can add text here, and I can simply hit done to pull that away. I can continue using my flyover card or shift it to the side and continue using my apps in any way I choose. Now, when it comes to multitasking and quitting apps and doing things like that, or say you now want to use this app full screen, you simply pull to the side and it will go full screen. If you have an app that's actually in split screen mode, let's take another version of Pixelmator here, and let's say we're in the multitasking window by pulling up and holding. We can actually, instead of quitting both apps at one time, we can just quit one of them. And it will resize the app that you were using to full screen. So that is a relatively quick look at multitasking in iPad OS for the iPad in general, but specifically the iPad Pro with all that horsepower to run, yes, up to 4 apps at the same time. And while you're limited by the 4th app being Notes, you're kind of limited altogether with the kinds of apps that are even capable of split screen or flyover card. And it's a lot of apps that can do this, but certain apps like Settings and Netflix, for instance, they need to run full screen, which is kind of understandable. But at the same time, we can see that the iPad has plenty of horsepower to be able to do something like that. So let me know if the video was helpful by giving a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below if there are any other multitasking tricks that you're aware of that I didn't get to in this video. Also, subscribe and click the bell. If you like the way my home screen is set up, I actually have an entire video on how I set that up with widgets and functional dock folders and stuff like that. Even a full app drawer right there, so I can access any app on the entire iPad from any app simply by pulling up the dock. So if that sounds interesting, you can click that. I'll put a card up on the screen. Thanks so much for watching. As always, as we cover your favorite tech-osophy, I'm Chris Grant Jr. It's the Granny Geek Show.